Hello, everybody. It is a Thursday morning and it's October. Let me see when exactly it is. 27th. Thank goodness for our phones. Sometimes the calendar that we use, don't know what day it is. So the phones help. Hey, I was just going over after coming back from my little vacation. Excuse me, and I did take an allergy pill, so I'm hoping this clearing up thing will stop. But I wanted to go over something that I discovered on my computer that we can all take a look at. I'm going to have to share my screen though. This I found very interesting here. It says, did you know all debts are prepaid? And it says this piece comes from David Robinson. So let me see. How do we command plus, command plus, command plus, command plus, command plus. Good. Trying to see how we can get this whole thing in good. So let's take a look and see what does it say exactly. Hello. This piece comes from David Robinson. I think he's the one that wrote those books. So I have some of his books from Amazon. A grand juror seated under summons on the Cumberland County, Maine grand jury for the first 4 months of 2014. The United States conscripted, that is, borrowed, an interest in everything that we would ever do and create. A usufruct relationship where our interest in the ownership of everything within our estate transferred over to them, and they never gave their control of our property back to us. Okay. I'm talking about pretty much everything property-wise. Like I have a timeshare and a deed. They say I'm the owner. Here, pay the taxes. Here, pay your maintenance fees. Pay your club fees. Pay your dues because you're the owner. Well, guess what? If that name is all capitalized, that's not my name. That's not how I spell my name. I spell it properly. The first letter is capitalized and then the rest are lowercase. But if you look at all your IDs, driver's license, social security card, let's see, what else? Credit cards, even your bank account. And pretty much all those statements that you get from the credit cards, they're all going to say your name all capitalized. Same thing right here. I want you to take a look at this. When the United States conscripted or borrowed an interest in everything that we would ever do or create, your car, your house, your timeshare, whatever. A usufruct relationship where our interest and the ownership of everything within our estate transferred over to them. They did it through the name right here. So we're going to look at this, okay? They have no lawful right to any of it and no valid claim to us, our land, our businesses, our children, or any other asset of ours. These thieves, that's what they are pretending that we consented to this circumstance and volunteered to subject ourselves to the United States jurisdiction for the war effort in a war that has been over almost 100 years. Let's keep reading. He's going to explain it right here. The expenses that they are responsible for are the expenses of all the shill legal fiction entities that they have created and run in your name. Look at your Edison bill. Is that all capitalized in your name? Yeah. They are the shill legal fiction entity owners right here because they're abusing the right of usufruct. That means you get to use it. You get to use it. You get to use it for the fruit of it. But then you get the liable portion and you have to pay for it. So those expenses include the expenses and debts of the federal, state, foreign situs trust, doing business as, and his example right here, he put his name, David Everett Robinson. So do you see how it's spelled properly right there? And then here's the Puerto Rican Estate Trust. Oh, is doing business as, I'll capitalize, David Everett Robinson. Oh my gosh. And then the United Nations transmitting utility is doing business as David E. Robinson in all caps, and so on ad infinitum. What? So there's more than one. Oh my gosh. So the federal, state, foreign situs. Oh, look at that. That's wild. This is blowing my mind. So the first one is doing business as the proper spelling, David Everett Robinson. And then the Puerto Rican estate is doing business as, all caps, David Everett Robinson. And then the United Nations oh my gosh. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh, what they create, they control. And they are obligated to pay for what they create and control. The ones with the gold pay the bills. We don't have the gold. What does that mean? You know, gold and silver, that's real money. We don't have that. What'd they give us? Pieces of paper called cash, Federal Reserve notes, IOUs, fiat, tender, whatever you want to call it, all for legal tender of private and public usage. Let's keep reading here. Here's the word usufruct. It's a right to use another's property for a time without damage or diminishing it. Although the property might naturally deteriorate over time, a legal usufruct is one created by law, a 100-year encumbrance. Black's Law, 7th edition, page 1542. Because of this usufruct relationship, the United States has the hidden obligation and lawful responsibility to maintain everything we think we own. We were promised that on demand, but we're never taught how to access it. The system made a promise that they could not and did not keep. We need to stop claiming ownership of everything we think we own and revert our interests back to the United States so that they can put in a trust for us, which they may have already done, so they can settle our claims. Here we go. Our signature turns a piece of paper into a negotiable instrument because we are the financial institutions, considered to be estates. Patented under land patent because we come from the earth. Oh my gosh. This goes deep. This is crazy making. You know how they said that God made Adam from the dust of the earth and then created the woman from the rib out of Adam? But in all essence, you know, our bodies have the minerals from the earth. So they're saying right there that because we came from the earth, that they put a land patent on us. Oh my gosh. So he's kind of doing like going back. He's going backwards. But look, our signature turns a piece of paper into a negotiable instrument because we, you and I, we're the bank, we're the financial institutions considered to be estates, patented under land patent because we come from the earth. Oh my gosh, there's so much meat in that one sentence. So let's look here. They patented a usufruct interest in us. They're using us for 100 years. Oh my gosh, we are all agricultural beings, commodities. Oh my goodness. When you buy a house, you're not buying a house. You are creating a loan against yourself. You become the collateral for the loan. Oh, the land patent cannot go to ground because it's immovable. I don't understand that last sentence. The land patent cannot go to ground because it's immovable. I don't get that part. I don't know. You are considered in law, the international law of the Hague Treaty. What? Oh my gosh. As Liber Code entities outside of and foreign to the United States. Whoa. So international law, that's why they get the Hague Treaty. The Hague Treaty is with the different countries that they can adopt people. Oh my gosh, they've adopted me. I'm adopted. And then the Liber Code, as Liber Code entities. Oh my gosh. The Liber Code. I read some of that, the military, their Liber Code on my channel, so you can kind of go back there and find out about that. That was after the Civil War, after Lincoln. Mr. Lieber wrote the Liber Code when they were in war, the foreigners versus the ones who were on, living on land. Read that. That's going to explain that we're outside of and foreign to the United States. Well, because the United States is Washington, D.C. That's wild. But you can look that up. I think it's Title 26 under the IRS code. Look up the definitions. 17, whatever the definition, 1701, I think it is. So we're our own estate on our debtor side and considered to be a financial institution. So when you put your signature on any piece of paper, you are considered to be a bank. They just take a piece of paper and overlay it on your signature and write on that piece of paper on top of your signature that authorizes a transaction that you never see. I didn't know about that. Then they place a lien against that signed piece of paper and sell it as a security on the stock exchange. This is what they're doing with child support. Oh my gosh. Wow. They have you sign something so they can slap a lien on it and then sell it as a note. Sell it as notes, no longer with them. A counterfeit security anyways, as there is nothing backing it and they've obtained it through fraud. Whoa. So they're anxious to put the obligation onto someone else. So it relieves them of the obligation because they don't have the note as it's been already sold off. Whoa. That's wild. You become the naked owner. They're supposed to be the naked owner, and we should have the usufruct. We should be able to have the usage of the fruit of our timeshare, of our house, of the Edison bill, electricity, of our phone service. We should have these, but we're being treated as terrorists in our own country. We are living basically in a fictional reality. We're coming out of war. We are non-adverse. We're not here to own anything. And I'm remembering how that Klaus Schwab is trying to, in his book, The Great Reset, trying to make it so that we all own nothing and we're enjoying it. This is what they're already doing it. Oh man, but we think we own it, and that's why we're paying for stuff. Wow. Once the application is completed, that's it. The funds are supposed to be dispersed to the individual who needs it. They're not doing that. Instead, they're creating a usufruct relationship, meaning that when the person applies for something, they sign their rights over to the state. So now the state has the right to move as power of attorney, which makes the person signing the application incompetent like an infant who can't handle his own affairs, and they stick someone else with the obligation to complete his financial accounts. It doesn't matter who they appoint. This is why you find that some people are hit with the obligation. It's pretty wild, man. So with the bills they have you sign, you could do a reversionary interest. You could take it and sign it over to, this is why you, sign it over to the United States Treasury, which now has the obligation under usufruct to settle the claim. Oh my gosh. That's it. You sign everything over to the U.S. Treasury, excluding the middleman, who is the administrator who is acting wrongly. What? So is he saying that when we do our remittance coupons that we're supposed to be signing it over to the United States Treasury? Yikes. Yikes. Let's keep reading and find out what to do next. What's this? When you keep this up, guess who will go down to check out their books? The U.S. Treasury. Whoa. We are protected by international law, and the statutes no longer apply to us as we are no longer at war once we move into non-adversarial status. Oh, how do you move into non-adversarial status? Regarding HJR 192 and the A4V. The United States government went bankrupt in 1933. It's an established fact that the United States federal government was dissolved by the Emergency Banking Act of March 9, 1933, 48 Statute 1, Public Law 89 through 719, declared by President Roosevelt being insolvent and bankrupt. So House Joint Resolution 192, 73rd Congress in section June 5th, 1933, a joint resolution to suspend the gold clause standard and abrogate the gold clause, dissolved the United States and the official capacities of all U.S. government offices, officers, and departments, as further evidence that the United States federal government exists today in name only. Wow. That's a lot. You're going to have to chew that stuff up right there because it's a lot in that little sentence. So the receivers of the U.S. bankruptcy are the international bankers via the United Nations. Whoa. They're the receivers? Oh my gosh. The World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. All U.S. offices, officials, and departments are operating within a de facto status in name only under the emergency war powers. And this has been going on much longer than 1933. Wow. So all those U.S. offices and officials and departments, they're not really the real de jure. They're the de facto. They're just in name only. And they're doing it under the emergency war powers. Whoa. Constitutional Republic taken over by the North. With the Constitutional Republic form of government now dissolved, the receivers of the bankruptcy have adopted a new form of government for the United States. This new form of government is known as the democracy, being an established socialist communist order under a new world order governorship for America. Wow. Whoa. Heavy duty. And I'm basically just reading this. This is something that I've had on my computer and I've shared it with other people. These are none of my words. I'm just reading it. So we're operating under a fictional basis now because we are under martial rule. Oh my goodness. There's a difference between martial rule and martial law, I guess. Thanks to what happened with Abraham Lincoln, which was intended to protect us. Oh, really? Well, let's read more. The founding fathers declared that only gold and silver coins can be the only money to be made in America. This act was instituted and established by transferring the office of the Secretary of State to that of the governor of the International Monetary Fund. What? Whoa, Public Law 94, 564, page 8. What's sec? I don't know what that is. Section? HR 1355 reads in part, the United States Treasury, the United States Secretary of the Treasury receives no compensation for representing the United States. Wow. The United States Secretary of the Treasury receives no compensation for representing the United States. When the colonies broke apart, when the North and South broke apart, that was, around Lincoln's time, when they went bankrupt way back then, the U.S. Constitution was no longer valid. What? What? The Constitution is now void because there's no sovereign government and we're under martial law rule. So it's time for us to wake up. Whoa. Oh my goodness. I didn't know this. Wow. What? Wow. Understand the process. Since gold and silver coinage was heavy and inconvenient for a lot of transactions, they were stored in banks and a claim check or promissory note was issued as a money substitute. Redeemable currency must promise to pay a dollar equivalent in gold or silver money. Federal Reserve notes, also known as dollars, make no such promise and are not money. Because they have no monetary value, they are worth nothing. What? Oh my goodness. Yikes, the difference due to the bankruptcy. A Federal Reserve note is it, cash, money, what we think is money. A Federal Reserve note is a debt obligation of the federal United States government. It's not money. We call it that, but it's not. The federal United States and the Congress were not and have never been authorized by the Constitution for the United States of America to issue currency of any kind, but only lawful money, gold and silver coins. Wow. Oh my gosh. Gulp, big swallow. It is essential that we comprehend the distinction between real money and paper money substitutes. One cannot get rich by accumulating money substitutes. Like, hey, here's all these IOU notes. Here you go. One can only get deeper into debt. We, the people, no longer have any real money. Oh. When this happened, the Federal Reserve came in and booted the United States Treasury out. What? The Federal Reserve came in and booted the United States Treasury out and brought in the IMF, which is the International Monetary Fund. The United States Treasury ended up in Puerto Rico. The real United States Treasury is not in the District of Columbia now at all. Oh. Now you know why most Americans have not been paid any money for a very long time, perhaps not even in their entire lifetime. Do you comprehend now why you feel broke? Why you are bankrupt along with the rest of the country? Did the central banks commit fraud? Oh my gosh. Yes. Being a sentient being, our signature is a commodity to the banker's scam due to the fact that they had an agreement contract after the gold was taken. The agreement was to collateralize all United States citizens as debt slaves. Whoa. The HJR 192 resolution agreement contract that all debts are prepaid on demand. In exchange for their gold, the people were promised that all debts are prepaid. Okay. So, our ancestors were told, if you don't give up all your gold or silver, we're going to give you either 10 years in prison or $10,000 fine. So give us the gold, give us the money. They were told that they had to do that. If they didn't do it, then they'd have that penalty. That's probably why a lot of people were putting their stuff in their mattresses or burying treasure. So this means that the international banking cartel came up with an economic security offer, also known as the Social Security number or the Socialistic Security Act. Whoa. This new deal is not a bad deal if it were honored. That's true. Sustainable benefits at old age, a secure place to reside, health care, all the essentials of living, a method of transportation. Everything is actually all prepaid because we are basically shareholders in the United States corporation because of our birth certificates bonds. If you are part of a corporation, you're part stockholder. So you should be getting dividends from that stock, yearly or monthly. Whoa. But you're not getting anything at all. So this was definitely done behind our backs with the birth certificate bond, without full disclosure of the contract or anything. Explain. All this to protect you. Protect you from what? Oh my gosh. Broken promises and examples. Yeah. Banks are acting in your behalf when making a so-called loan. But instead of you receiving the actual money to pay for a house, you are actually being scammed of your own money every time you put your signature on their so-called promissory note. Wow. Oh my gosh. Yikes. The most likely question is, why do they need our signature so badly? The simple answer is, because you are the creditor and the debtor. You create the money every time you sign a fraudulent contract with the international bankers. And how do we know this? Because you are land. You come from the land. Therefore, you are a financial institution. When you sign your signature, you create credibility that they can actually take from you and pocket because you are walking real estate. You are the walking estate that they have patented. They have patented everything through your birth certificate. Can you imagine? We are very rich, but they are using us as agriculture in a very devastating way. So once again, understand the process. Creditor. Under the UCC, that's the Uniform Commercial Code, you create the money. That's right. You are the banker. Your signature is required so you can discharge the charge. Really? Versus, this is what we all thought, debtor. Under the UCC, you create the debt. That's right, you are the banker. Your signature is required so you have and hold the debt. A run on the bank is created when borrowers demand real gold or silver instead of paper representation. So instead of being outlawed, the federal government legalized it and regulates the fictional money scam. Wow. This is why Roosevelt had an issue with the bankers. They basically came in and took the money out of the notes. They took everything. What have we learned? That around 1933, President Roosevelt declared the bankruptcy of the United States Corporation. The international bankers demanded our gold and made it legal. They also removed money notes that were backed by the real gold standards set by the founding fathers of the Republic. Whoa. The bankers demanded even more money, so they created House Joint Resolution 192, HJR 192, based in effect on the private central bank, the non-Federal Reserve, Inc. And again, one of their resolutions was to collateralize all citizens via their birth certificate bonds in exchange for the HJR 192. All citizens were to have free transportation, socialistic security, prepaid utilities, socialistic health care, food rations, etc. We were to be protected and maintained by the government of the United States of America. Everything was supposedly prepaid. Wow. The owners of the gold pay the bills. Wow. But something happened then, and we are now under martial law rule. We were supposed to have all this, but the bankers came in and took everything to make it look like we have to pay for everything ourselves with our sweat and toil, when this is not true at all. Everything should be prepaid right now. Oh, wow. Birth certificate bonds, how do they work? To simplify, John Doe is born and is incorporated. Put your name in that situation right there. The bond certificate is then collateralized, converted into money, for example, $1 million. And the bond is then sold in the privately held international central bank system. The bond is sold over and over and over again, which in turn can be worth a lot of money. 1 million over a 20-year period may grow to $40 million or more. But understand, in this process, you are nothing but a human resource to the bankers. Sheesh. Talk about being used for your money. After a bond is collateralized for $1 million, oh wow, $1 million gets created out of thin air. And the Federal Reserve orders the Treasury to print up 1 million Federal Reserve notes. If you'll notice, the dollar bills have a serial number. That is actually a person you were holding in your hand. So really, we are all collateralized. Yikes. Who is doing this to us? We are being treated as agriculture. So we have to find out who we are and what we are here to do. What's being done to us is very inhumane. Another example. Go to a bank and ask for a loan. The bank acts as a third party between you and the Federal Reserve to tap into your $1 million birth certificate bond. They are loaning you your own money, your own energy. Oops. Hang on a second. I wanted to answer that, but I'm just saying. I don't know who it is. Okay, so we start out on an adversarial level, but we have to act on a non-adversarial level. So we have to be like non-combatant, we can't be enemies, okay? We have to, well, we started off on a war adversary level, but we have to act in a non-war or because we're, under the martial law, he was saying, or martial rule. Oh my gosh. So we have to act in a non-adversarial level. With HJR 192, our best friend was created, the IRS. Oh, wow. You're kidding. Our personal accountant for our bond. Wow. Oh my gosh, the IRS is our friend. I did not know that. This is where you, the debt slave, can discharge alleged debt and where the UCC process comes on board. Now the IRS can be your best friend. Oh, when you accept a charge for the honor of the name and deposit it as credit into the United States Treasury, you are released from the obligation of the debt by reverting all the interest to the state. The U.S. Treasury, via the IRS, is going to contact all these agents and make them get their act together. Where are they pocketing the money? Where are their books? What is the UCC? Hang on just a quick second. Okay. Get back to this. The U.S. Treasury, via the IRS, is going to contact all these agents and make them get their act together. Where are they pocketing the money? Oh, where are their books? Oh, what is the UCC? The Uniform Commercial Code is one, a code of statutes of contracts, a product of private bankers that have hijacked the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. What? A code of statutes of contracts, a product of private bankers that have hijacked the Constitution and the Bill of Rights? Huh? My gosh, are you kidding me? Number 2, based on the Merchant Marine Law. This is important because of the prevalence of commercial transactions extending from one state to another. For example, goods may be manufactured in State A, warehoused in State B, sold from State C, and delivered in State D. The UCC deals with the following consecutively numbered subjects. 1, general provisions, sales of goods. 2A, leases. Oh, hang on a second. Let me let my dog come in. Sorry. Don't get on my bed. Get on your own bed. Don't get on mine. All right. Everybody's starting up their motors around here. Okay, let's go back to this. So, sale of goods, leases, leases of goods, negotiable instruments, bank deposits. Oh, wow. Banks and banking, check collection processes, fund transfers, transfers of money between banks, letters of credit, transactions involving letters of credit, bulk transfers and bulk sales actions, and liquidation of assets. 7, warehouse receipts, bills of lading, and other documents of title. 8, investment securities, securities and financial assets. 9, secured transaction, transactions secured by security interests, and most importantly, liens. Under the UCC, you are considered to be a vessel over which maritime laws apply. Did you hear that? We are vessels or vehicles. Under the UCC, you can be liened. Oh, in total conflict with the Declaration of Independence, unalienable rights or unalienable rights. Under the UCC, by contracting, such as applying for a license. Wow. Your inherent original rights are, oh my gosh, they're turned into privileges that can be liened. Oh my gosh. We are under the contract of martial law rule. We've already been liened. Oh my goodness. Your right to travel is now privileged to drive when you get yourself a driver's license. Your right to free speech is now privileged to protest, not picket, by the way. Wow. Oh my gosh. Your right to hold property is now an asset that can be seized. Your right to hunt and fish, because you get a license, is now a privilege to hunt and fish, which can be fined. Wow. These are just a few examples of the usurping statutes of the UCC, because they own it all. They own your title. They own your cars. They own everything you registered to the state and more. They see you as a wartime criminal. Under the UCC, all of us are considered to be an asset of the state, a debt slave used as collateral for their debts. All of us are equity for debts to the United States Corporation. Whoa. Free yourself from the system by filing a UCC finance statement. By filing a UCC finance statement, leaning your legal name's status name, you become the secured party creditor of your ens legis straw man. In effect, you have taken over the birth certificate bond originally created by them, and you are a UCC creditor, now handling your own affairs. The means being non-adversarial, you are not at war with the United States and are willing to settle your bond account via the IRS by accepting it for discharge. 2, you have taken over the private banker sovereign status, which creates money that cannot be liened and discharges it. 3, you have a lien on the Kafirs and all officials who work for us, whom we can shut down if they break their own corporate laws. Ooh, also known as the UCC, Uniform Commercial Code. Wow. You're moving yourself off of wartime status. Secured party creditor and Kafirs are explained. Hey, finally. Kafirs comprehensive annual financial report. It has been reported that trillions of collected dollars not shown on government budget reports are shown through government Kafir reports that are virtually never openly discussed by the syndicated news media, Democrat and Republican Party members, the House, the Senate, nor organized public education. With it being that the comprehensive annual financial reports is the accounting document for every local government, and with it being blacked out for open mention over the last 60 or more years, the fact of unintentional omission of coverage, wow, is one of the biggest conspiracies that has ever taken effect in the United States of America. That's wild. So what is a comprehensive annual financial report? It is the government's complete accounting of net worth. The CAFR, also known as Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, was established as local government's complete accounting record, started in 1946 through the efforts of a private group located out of Chicago, Illinois by the name of Government Financial Officers Association, GFOA, which became mandatory by Fed requirements on all local governments in 1978 to complete if they had not already done so. From more than 84,000 CAFR reports produced by local governments each year in combination with federal government's own investment holdings, shows a conservative value of some $60 trillion held by local and federal governments as of 1999. An example of the holdings shown from just one government CAFR, New York State 2005 Retirement Fund CAFR, shows $133 billion of investments held. Microsoft has 44 million shares thereof. Self-serving government fat cats. Instead of us receiving these tremendous amounts via dividends every month to the populace, we are being cheated out of all rightful benefits ourselves and benefiting them instead. As a secured party creditor, putting a lien on the Kafirs makes a lot of sense. We are shareholders of the United States corporation and should be sharing in its profitable dividends, but we're not getting anything at all. Secured party creditor benefits: discharge of fines, liens, summons, court case charges, orders, legal notices, protect all your vehicles, child support payments, school loans, alleged credit card debts. Alleged. Utility bills, secured loans, tax liens, traffic tickets, and so much more. By using this private process, you have the power to put them under notice of default and use the process to lien them as well and receive monies from their bond when they break UCC creditor laws. The beast system implemented for financial slavery and ruin. But they that be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. 1 Timothy chapter 6, 9 through 10. Looking at banks differently. The thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. That's John 10:10. The bank system is a well-organized, corrupt criminal cartel that came to a head around 1933 when President Roosevelt declared the bankruptcy of the United States. The banks took over our gold and silver money that was backed by a gold standard. The result is a new type of fiat money and a de facto government system. This new form of government is known as a democracy. That's why Obama kept saying that. Now established, as a socialist, communist, New World Order. Wow, government of America. Fiat money is any money declared by the government to be legal tender. Before 1933, paper money was backed by gold. Ever since Federal Reserve notes, also known as dollars, are not money, but money substitutes backed only by false belief. Yeah, our trust that we believe. Wow, so this was from David Robertson in Maine. And it shows you here how he can get a hold of. Wow. That's heavy duty stuff. I feel like I want to go into a deep sleep right now in a coma. That's heavy duty. So what are we going to do about this knowledge? I mean, the more we listen and learn and read, the more we know. So that means we have to do something. Be non-adversarial, of course. But that's pretty wild how all the systems are in place to make it as if we are the enemies of the state, but we're not. Or shall we say enemies of the federal government? Or should we say the enemies of the New World Order, whatever. Anyways, I just thought I'd read that, and now I'm totally tired. So, do what you want with that information.